Jack's hands tightened around the steering wheel, knuckles whitening with the pressure, as the sun slowly slipped behind the treetops, painting long, stretched-out shadows across the old, broken road beneath his tires. He was driving home again, after finishing his third overnight shift this week. The job. Scrubbing office floors after spending the entire day lifting heavy boxes in a suffocating warehouse. His arms screamed in protest, muscles sore and worn, but none of that compared to the heaviness in his chest. The ache of knowing that, once more, his 10-year-old boy Mason would be fast asleep by the time he walked through that front door. It was like déjà vu, only sadder each time. He barely saw his son anymore. He missed him deeply. Working non-stop just to stay one step ahead of falling apart. Barely managing to keep the roof over their heads. Rent. Fridge. Nearly empty. His bank account. A depressing $14 and some cents. He hadn't even eaten since breakfast. Why? Because he wanted to make sure Mason had lunch at school. That was the kind of father he was, putting his kid first always. His eyes began to sting, not from the exhaustion, not entirely, but from something deeper. That quiet, relentless ache that whispers, "Am I enough? Is my best ever going to be good enough?" As the pressure welled up, he couldn't take it anymore. He spotted a small, familiar trail cutting through the woods, just off the roadside, a place he and Mason used to walk on the rare weekends they had together. Without thinking, Jack pulled over, shut off the engine and stepped out. The crisp air hit him like a wave, sharp and clean, as he tried to slow the storm brewing in his chest. The forest was still. Birds chirped quietly somewhere up high. Once those sounds calmed him, but now, they just made him realize everything he was missing. Everything life was pulling away. Leaning against the side of his battered old truck, eyes closed, trying to breathe, Jack had no idea that what happened next would change everything. A sound broke the silence, a soft, broken whimper. Oh, faint, so fragile. His brow furrowed. That wasn't an animal. No, this was different. It wasn't the wind either. It was human. Without hesitation, driven by instinct and something deeper. He started walking toward the noise. Leaves crunched beneath his boots as the cries grew louder, more distinct. Soft sobbing, desperate, like a secret being told just loud enough to break your heart. The deeper Jack went, the colder it got. His breath clouded in the air now. Then he saw them. 2 little girls. Identical. Twins. Same tangled mess of blonde hair. Same thin, oversized clothes hanging off their tiny bodies like rags. But what made Jack freeze, what made the world stop, was the rusted chain that bound them to an old tree. Their wrists were raw, bruised, faces streaked with dirt and fear. They were clinging to each other, shivering not just from cold, but from something far worse. They didn't scream, didn't cry out. They just looked at him. Eyes so hollow, so empty, as if they'd already seen everything life had to offer. And none of it was good. Jack couldn't move at first. Couldn't breathe. These girls weren't lost. Well, they'd been left. Abandoned. Maybe worse. One of the twins slowly stepped behind the other, scared he might hurt them too. That was all it took to break him. Jack dropped to one knee, raising both hands gently, voice shaking. Hey, it's okay. I'm here now, he whispered. They stared silent, unsure. Then, one of them stepped forward just slightly and whispered words so soft they felt like glass in his chest. Please don't take us back. Jack's fingers trembled as he fumbled with his phone, calling 911. His voice cracked, breaking as he gave his location, trying to explain. 2 little girls chained to a tree. They need help now. As soon as he hung up, he rushed to their side. They flinched. He slowed. Spoke soft, soothing. You're safe. I promise. He shrugged off his coat, the only one he had, thin, tattered but warm, and wrapped it around their small shoulders. They leaned into it, still shaking. He tore a piece from his shirt to gently wipe the dirt off their faces. Beneath it he saw the truth. Bruises, some healing. Others fresh. His heart shattered. "What happened to you?" he asked, knowing they probably wouldn't answer. "Lynn." One of them did. She looked right at him, those terrified, tired eyes. Lips trembling. "Please. Don't take us back." Those words hit like a freight train. He didn't need the backstory. Didn't need to know the who or the why. He just knew. Looking at their frail little bodies, clinging to each other like that was all they had left, Jack made a silent promise. He didn't have much. He was running on fumes himself. But right then, he made a vow. "They will not go back. Not on my watch." And then red and blue lights flashed through the trees. "Police. Child Protective Services." The girls latched onto his leg like it was life itself. A social worker approached, calm but firm. "We'll take it from here," she said. Jack stepped forward. "Please, don't separate them. Don't send them somewhere cold and strange. Let me take care of them for now." The woman hesitated. "Sir, you're not registered. And if I'm being honest, we ran your info. You're barely getting by yourself." He didn't argue. Didn't try to impress. He just looked down at the girls, still holding on like he was the only safe place left in the world. "I'm not perfect," he said. "But I'm a dad. I know how to love. And that's what they need more than anything right now." The woman glanced at the twins. One of them looked up, voice breaking. "He's the only one who didn't look at us like we were broken." That changed everything. The caseworker softened. Studied how the girls leaned into Jack, not just for warmth, but for comfort, for home. She exhaled. "All right. Temporary placement, just while we figure things out." Jack nodded, barely able to swallow the emotion climbing up his throat. He didn't have much, but whatever he had, they'd have it too. Sunlight poured through the kitchen windows like honey, golden and soft. The smell of pancakes filled the air, mingling with the sound of little feet dancing on the tile and pure, unfiltered laughter. Jack stood at the stove, flipping batter, while Mason drizzled syrup over a mountain of pancakes. The twins, twirling around in mismatched pajamas like it was Christmas morning. "Daddy, I cracked the egg all by myself," one of the girls shouted, holding up a sticky eggshell with pride. Jack turned, laughed. "Yeah? Half of it's in your hair." They all exploded into giggles. Loud, carefree, the kind that only comes from safety. From finally being allowed to be kids. The house, still small. Money, still tight. But love, overflowing. The twins now called him Daddy. Not because someone told them to, but because that's who he became. Not by blood, but by choice. And they didn't just get a second chance. They gave him one too. He watched the three of them smear syrup on the table, laughing like the world had never been cruel. He leaned back against the counter and whispered to himself, This is what life's supposed to feel like. Because sometimes the ones we think we're saving, they're the ones who save us right back." Blue heart,